My dear listener, as the day gently fades and the stars begin to twinkle, allow your mind to drift into a story, a truly remarkable tale about a young boy, a marvelous factory, and a journey filled with a special kind of sweetness. Close your eyes softly and let the gentle rhythm of the words guide you. Our story begins in a humble, rather lopsided little house, nestled in a quiet town where the air often carried the scent of delicious chocolate. In this small home lived a kind and thoughtful boy named Charlie Bucket. Charlie lived with his beloved mother and father and his 4 bedridden grandparents, Grandma Josephine, Grandma Georgina, Grandpa George, and his very special Grandpa Joe. They were a family of simple means, but their hearts were overflowing with love and warmth. Their little house, though drafty, was always filled with shared stories and quiet laughter. Just beyond their window, towering majestically and shrouded in a veil of mystery, stood the magnificent Wonka Chocolate Factory. For years its gates had been sealed, its secrets kept hidden. No one had entered or left, yet the factory continued to produce the most wonderful, imaginative sweets the world had ever known. The owner, a most extraordinary confectioner named Willy Wonka, was an enigma, a genius whose world was sugar and pure imagination. One day, a most astonishing announcement echoed throughout the world, stirring great excitement. Willy Wonka himself declared that he would open his factory gates to 5 lucky children. Hidden within 5 ordinary Wonka bars, scattered across the globe, would be 5 gleaming golden tickets. These tickets would grant a lifetime supply of chocolate and, more importantly, a grand tour of the legendary factory itself, led by Mr. Wonka. The world erupted in a flurry of chocolate bar unwrapping. Soon, the first golden ticket was discovered by a rather plump young boy from Germany named Augustus Gloop, whose greatest joy in life was eating. He loved chocolate more than anything, perhaps even more than politeness. The second ticket was found by a demanding, spoiled young girl from England, Veruca Salt, whose wealthy father gave her anything her heart desired, and sometimes even more. Then came Violet Beauregard, a fiercely competitive girl from America who was always chewing gum and determined to be the best at everything, no matter the cost. And finally, the 4th ticket fell into the hands of Mike Tavy, another American boy, whose world revolved around television and video games, leaving little room for anything else. Charlie, too, yearned for a golden ticket. For his birthday, he received a Wonka bar, a rare treat for his family. But alas, no ticket. Grandpa Joe, remembering his own days working at the factory, offered Charlie his last coin for another bar. But still, no golden gleam. Charlie felt a gentle disappointment, but his spirit remained kind and hopeful. Then one cold, snowy day, as Charlie walked home, he found a dollar bill half buried in the pristine white snow. With a happy heart, he decided to buy a Wonka bar, just for himself this time. and as he carefully peeled back the wrapper, there it was, a shimmer of pure gold, a beautiful, shining golden ticket. A gasp of wonder escaped him. He had found the fifth and final ticket, though a moment of temptation whispered in his ear, suggesting he sell the ticket for his family. The pure magic of the opportunity, and Grandpa Joe's wise words reminded him of the factory's wondrous call. It was a moment of true joy, a gentle ripple of happiness for the entire Bucket family. The day of the tour dawned bright and clear. Charlie, feeling a mix of gentle nerves and immense excitement, walked hand in hand with Grandpa Joe towards the grand gates of the Wonka factory. The other children arrived with their parents, each one eager and, perhaps, a little too proud. And then, with a whimsical flourish, Willy Wonka himself appeared. He was a slender man, with a unique, pale complexion, eyes that sparkled with mischief and a hint of sadness, and a very peculiar way of speaking. He welcomed them all inside, into a world unlike any they had ever imagined. Their journey began in the most wonderful place, the chocolate room. Imagine, if you will, a vast landscape of pure, edible delight. Trees with candy fruit, grass made of green spun sugar, and a majestic river of flowing, warm, melted chocolate, its surface swirling gently. Boats like giant pink shells drifted softly on its delicious currents. It was a feast for the eyes, and a sweet aroma filled the air. But it was here that the first little incident occurred. Augustus Gloop, unable to resist the alluring chocolate river, knelt down to take a large, ungraceful sip. He leaned too far, and with a soft, surprising splash, he tumbled right into the river. The current, though gentle, carried him along. The Oompa Loompas, the small, orange-skinned, green-haired workers of the factory, appeared and, with a synchronized rhythmic song, guided him towards a pipe that would lead him out of the factory. It was a rather swift and unexpected departure for Augustus, as his journey in the factory tour came to a close. Next, they visited the inventing room, a place filled with bubbling concoctions and fascinating machines. Here, Willy Wonka showed them his everlasting gobstoppers, candy that would last forever, and a special stick of chewing gum that tasted like a full 3-course meal. Violet Beauregard, always one to prove herself, immediately snatched the gum, despite Wonka's warnings that it wasn't quite ready. She began to chew, enjoying the taste of tomato soup, then roast beef and baked potato. But then, to everyone's surprise, her nose began to turn a soft blue, then her face, then her entire body. She gradually expanded, swelling into an enormous round blueberry. The Oompa Loompas, with another one of their perfectly choreographed songs, rolled her gently away to be juiced, a rather amusing, if unexpected, transformation. And so Violet's tour ended too. Their journey continued to the nut room, a bright, cheerful space filled with hundreds of trained squirrels, busily sorting nuts. These clever creatures could tell a good nut from a bad one with remarkable precision. Veruca Salt, seeing the charming squirrels, immediately declared that she wanted one. When Willy Wonka politely explained they were not for sale, Veruca, with her usual stubbornness, tried to enter the room to simply take one. The squirrels, perceiving her as a bad nut herself, gently but firmly overwhelmed her, pushing her towards a large rubbish chute. With a quiet whoosh, Veruca disappeared down the chute, followed swiftly by her bewildered father, who in his haste stumbled and followed her lead. The Oompa Loompas, as always, had a song ready for this rather amusing turn of events. Finally, the remaining guests arrived at the television room, a dazzling white space where Willy Wonka demonstrated his latest invention, teleporting chocolate through television. He could send a chocolate bar through the airwaves, and it would appear on a television screen, ready to be picked up. Mike Teavee, ever the defiant one, declared it was boring and, against all warnings, stepped onto the teleporting platform himself. With a flash and a sparkle, he vanished, only to reappear on a nearby television screen, shrunken to a tiny, pocket-sized version of himself. His poor parents were quite taken aback. The Oompa Loompas, with yet another catchy tune, carried the miniature Mike away, hoping to stretch him back to his normal size. And then there was only one child left, Charlie Bucket. Willy Wonka turned to Charlie, a gentle smile gracing his lips. "And so, my dear boy," he said, "you are the only one remaining. This means you have won." Charlie's eyes widened with quiet astonishment and joy. Wonka explained that Charlie would inherit the entire factory, the most wonderful chocolate factory in the world. But there was one condition. Charlie must leave his family behind. This news brought a gentle sadness to Charlie's heart. He loved the factory, loved chocolate, but his family, his beloved parents and grandparents, were his whole world. He couldn't imagine a life without them. And so, with a quiet resolve, Charlie politely but firmly declined Mr. Wonka's offer. He chose his family, his heart full of unwavering love, over all the chocolate and magic in the world. Willy Wonka was puzzled, a strange, wistful look upon his face. He simply couldn't comprehend Charlie's choice. Later, Charlie, noticing Wonka's quiet melancholy, gently suggested that perhaps Mr. Wonka needed his own family. He saw the loneliness in Wonka's sparkling eyes and encouraged him to seek out his long-estranged father, Dr. Wilbur Wonka, a renowned dentist who had forbidden young Willy from eating candy. And so, with Charlie by his side, Willy Wonka embarked on a journey of his own, a quiet search for the roots of his past. They found Dr. Wonka in a simple dental office, a man who, despite his strict views on sweets, had kept every newspaper clipping about his famous son. The reunion was a tender, quiet moment, a gentle mending of a long broken bond. Dr. Wonka, seeing his son after so many years, recognized him instantly, a father's love shining through. With a heart made lighter by this gentle reconciliation, Willy Wonka understood. He returned to Charlie, extending his offer once more, but this time without any conditions. Charlie could have the factory, and his whole family could come with him. And so, my dear one, that is precisely what happened. The entire Bucket family, with joyful hearts and quiet dignity, moved into the wonderful Wonka factory. They lived together, a warm and loving family, within the very heart of the sweet-smelling, magical place. Willy Wonka found not only a successor in Charlie, but also a true friend and a sense of belonging he hadn't known before. With Charlie and his family around him, his heart felt full, and his imagination, once again, bloomed with new, delightful ideas. Charlie, with his kind heart and gentle spirit, helped Mr. Wonka create even more wonderful candies, and the factory, with its gates now truly open to the world, thrived more than ever. The story of Charlie Bucket reminds us that the greatest treasures are not always the grandest, but rather the love we share and the quiet warmth of family. Now, as the last words of our story gently fade, let your own mind drift into the peaceful slumber of dreams, knowing that kindness and love truly do lead to the sweetest of endings. Rest well, my dear, and may your dreams be as sweet and gentle as a Wonka bar.